and go, well, I have to work in events. You don't. What is event management? It's the same thing as project management. What is project management? Looking after a project. What's a project? Anything. So these skills are all completely interchangeable. Got talking to a friend of mine the other day. She said, oh yeah, you should apply for this HR role. I said, I've never done HR in my life. She said, oh no, you've got a communications degree, you'll be fine. We're really, really lucky with the communications degree, because this is a very broad kind of skill set. And a lot of it is bullshitting, and a lot of it is talking, and a lot of it is just figuring something out on the go, which is way easier than doing a science, which you have to be right. So that means you can jump in and out of different positions, you can look at different roles, and you can just slightly change your CV. When I apply for event roles, my opening line is like, I'm a qualified event manager, blah, blah, blah. When I apply for project management roles, I'm a qualified project manager, blah, blah, blah. It's the same thing. All the skills are interchangeable. It doesn't matter that your degree is in events. The degree gets you the interview. Remember that. A lot of jobs, people, I've seen plenty of CVs come through when we're still working at council, because we've got a position coming up in the next 2 months. And my boss is in there going, oh, this guy looks really good. I look at his degree, and he's got a business degree. He's going for an event job. Doesn't matter. You get the degree, you get the interviews, even if they're not surrounding what your degree is about. It's stupid, but that's how it works. It's kind of, quite interesting. Oh, look, we're already at the questions line. So what's the thoughts? What's the feeling? I probably painted a slightly bleak picture, I apologise. But I love doing events. You want a job where you're not stuck in the office every day? Work in events. You're always out doing site visits, you're always out, having interesting meetings. The people have been really, really cool. The downside of it is, I finished it 2 weeks ago, end of Matariki. I worked every weekend for 3.5 months. It's just what happens when you get festivals.
Between community events and conference events, which one has their ups and, which ones, the differences? Yeah, they're completely different beasts. So community events, working for council, we were still doing really big events, like Waitangi Day. It's about 15,000 to 18,000 people there. It's a huge event. It's like basically a big rock concert. We have all the mainstream kind of cultural top performers there. So essentially it is a music festival. You've got your rides, you've got your stalls. So you're looking after the whole event. So there's some really cool things on the side of that it is a community event. It is free for everyone to go, and you get the families and you get the people going to have a good time. And it's kind of fun, and the pressure is not as much. On the other side, with the conference events, it's super high pressure. Everything is perfect. But the standard is higher. So you walk into that room, once it's finished, once you've spent the entire day, hanging string, directing the lighting crew, figuring out, whatever's going on in the background of your slides, where the go-go flashes are going, even where the projections are all sitting. And the dream becomes real, and you look at it and you just go, wow, that's amazing. I had some pictures of those events that I worked on too, but unfortunately they're gone as well. So they're completely different beasts, but each are rewarding in themselves. What do I enjoy more?
Would you say one's less stress?
Different stresses. With corporate, you're not standing in the middle of a field getting drenched in rain, directing stall traffic. Corporate, one of my jobs when we did all our corporate events was I designed all the PowerPoint presentations. Now this in itself might seem really simple. We've all made PowerPoints. I made this one. Yay! This is a 390-page PowerPoint with once again, that perfection comes in as well. So when we look at, I'll jump to, oh, go away, that image slide, this one. So these here, this was from one of the corporate events that we did, and these are all the badges that go for first, second and third. When you're designing those slides, all of these need to be exactly the same height from here and exactly the same height between there and there. So that's the type of perfection on 390 pages of slides, where and it's in front of the most powerful people in New Zealand, and I've got the clicker, and I'm clicking it, and I look at it and go, it's off centre. Everybody sees that it's off centre, and so there's different pressures involved in that. Yeah, on that event there, we had a discussion with the organising team who managed the speakers, the MCs, all of the script writing. You'll do a lot of that as well. Script writing is annoying and it's cheesy, but it needs to happen. I do a lot of MC work, and a good script is really, really handy. It makes the show run well. We told them, the MC said, oh, what we'll just do, there were 2 winners in the category, we'll just bring both winners up and then they can kind of do their thing on stage and it'll be fine, we'll just figure it out. And we said, well, no, look, we'd prefer to say the first winner is blah, blah, blah. They come up, hero slide of the house that won, and then 4 slides showing the different angles of the property, bring up to, back to holding slide, and then the second winner is blah, blah, blah. Makes sense. Logical progression, no chance of error. He said, no, we'll be fine. We'll just figure it out. He gets up there, opens the second envelope first, which has the wrong name up here. He's read out a different name. They come up, and there's a scrolling image of the house that is not theirs behind them. Those are the type of stresses. And my boss is sitting there behind me, massaging my shoulders, going, it's not your fault, you're all good. That's just different types of stresses. There's also different stresses between indoor and outdoor events. We were out on, we had Manawote Kite Day. It was some of the worst weather I've ever had an event in. We had a 6x6 marquee with 800 kilos of weights on it. This thing snapped like a twig. That is a huge problem, especially when you've got publics around, because that's a health and safety issue. So we had to make that decision to close down all of that road because it was unsafe. Different challenges for each event, and every event has its own challenges. The thing that makes it work is everybody knowing who's responsible for what and who to call if something happens. So, yeah, all these things happen. What else have we got for questions?
Do you enjoy the stress? Like, is that like why you kind of went to it? Another reason why you went to event management? Like,
Yeah.
is it like a satisfaction thing?
Oh, it's, for me,
Yeah, adrenaline.
yeah, it is. When you're on an event, it's like getting strapped into a roller coaster. I always had the same analogy for any kind of performance, music or comedy. Once it starts, you're strapped in and you can't get off that roller coaster until it's done. And it's the same thing for events. There's no walking out halfway. And although the days are long and I might whinge and bitch, the whole time about needing coffee, that's the best part of doing it. Sitting in the office and doing all the paperwork and all the designing and making the site maps and doing all of that, it's a bit boring. I like being on site. I like being hands-on. I might not like having to go around and pick up 14 3x3 marquees and chuck them in a van by myself in the rain, but yeah, it's better than being in the office. That's kind of my perception of it.
Is that another reason why you're not doing PR? Like, because PR is kind of...
I always wanted to do events. I did a PR major as well because I believe that those skills would be important to me, and they have been. So that's just, yeah, really handy to have in both personal and professional life. What else we got? Who has a PR major?
I only do the same as you, I do the double.
Yeah.
Event and PR.
Good. Because I hear that you guys have just had 5 weeks of PR people.
Thanks.
You said you did a double.
Yeah.
Is that because by its nature, the management is kind of specialised, a little bit narrow?
No. It was just me wanting to be better than everyone else. I just thought it'd be interesting. you know, I looked at it, if it was a year extra, I wouldn't have done it. But I figured out that I could do a couple of summer papers and one extra semester and get a double. And really, it was that I thought it would look better on my CV, and somebody with a double major might get the interview over somebody with a single major. I have nothing to back that up to say that it worked.
But it's definitely benefited you doing the PR?
Yeah, definitely. Within my council role, you know, I get thrown things and just said, hey, can you edit this? Hey, can you proof this? Hey, can you write me up a press release on this? And, you know, I'm not going to write one as good as the marketing team, but I can at least, you know, I know how to do it. And so it's just having that wider skill set and that broader skill set. So if somebody throws you something, you don't sit there and go, I don't know how to do one. So yeah, it's just, events is, there's no specific skill. It's all the skills, all being thrown at you at once, and you just got to figure it out as much as you can. It's what I like about it, is every day is different, and you don't know what you're going to need to do. You guys found this helpful?
Yeah.
I have a question. What type of personality do you think works well in the events industry?
Nutters. I was having a conversation with Leanne Roach, who I went to uni here with and work with a council, and she said, do you know who out of all the industries drinks the most? I said, oh, who's that? She goes, creative industries. Especially the events team. I said, where did you read this rubbish? And she pulled it out and there was an actual article on it. Yeah, the events team is, it helps if you can laugh at things and you can kind of just go, you know, here we are in the rain, it's miserable, we're wet, we're cold, and we're here for another 6 hours minimum. You know, it helps to just be able to turn it around and have a laugh at that, otherwise you're not going to have a good time. You're not always going to be in positions which are perfect, especially in New Zealand with our weather fronts that we have. So, it's just what happens. You just got to suck it up.
Kind of off topic, but you work for council, right?
Yep.
Do you work with that girl named Amy? Parks?
No.
Because you say you do Parks Recreation, or you don't?
No, I'm with the CDAC team, which is Community Development, Arts and Culture.
Right.
And we're a team of 4.
Right.
And then there's a separate events
Right.
team, which is much bigger.
Yeah, that's the one she works for ATEED.
Oh, ATEED.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can get a job in ATEED, they do cool stuff. Their budgets are much bigger than ours, but also their pressure is much higher. But yeah, they have access to a lot of things that General Council doesn't have access to. We're always calling them up and going, hey, can we borrow your outdoor beanbags? So, yeah.
Do you like, because I work for a promo company, like, do you hire promo companies, like, you don't actually do much the event management, or do you do, don't speak straight. Because, like, the event management, I know that they get hired by the council to do, like, ATEED stuff and, like, the council other work, so the event management within the promo companies do that, then, so do you...
Depends on the event.
Yeah.
So some events are outsourced and contracted out to other event companies solely because council doesn't have the capacity to take them on. On the other side of things, some of them are council-run events, so everything's kind of different. Like for Southland Arts Festival for next year, our production team would normally be the people who design and manage that entire thing. Due to our contracts finishing and council being really, really, really slow on figuring out what to do once our contracts expire, they have had to bring in another external company to manage all of the production and running of that event. And so that's just what happens, just the joy of council. So, yeah, does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, what else we got? Come on, I'm not working today, I can be here all day.
What's the biggest mistake you ever made and how did you fix it?
Oh, I don't know, I haven't made really any massive ones.
Biggest challenge?
working with Bravo on this event here. This was the Westpac Legends Awards evening. So this was the general manager of Westpac was there, and it was basically an opportunity for all of the Westpac teams to come together and be awarded for their excellence of leadership and stuff. So these guys are earning millions, so it needed to be incredible. And so after I'd finished helping set up some of this stuff, I went out to a side room, and my manager said to me, here's what I need you to do. I need you to build this side room. And I said, okay, what is it? And he said, we're going to create a couple of struts like this in an L shape, and hanging from the top of the struts is going to be circles which have already been printed with the faces and names of every single person who was at this event. It's like 350 bloody people. He's like, oh, you've got 45 minutes. And I said, that's when I had to stand up and be like, that's not enough time, I need minimum hour and a half and somebody to help me. He just goes, okay, I can give you an hour 20 and here's another person to help you. So the way he wanted it done, 350, using nylon and scissors, tying it to the top of the bloody thing and hanging it down like this. I got through one side of it, so about 175, and it looked terrible. It absolutely looked terrible. And I looked at it and I was like, this isn't working. This looks just untidy, it looks dumb. Went and got my manager, pulled him out, and I said, do you like this? This was your design. And he said, what do you think? And I said, I would not be happy with this going up. And he said, okay, figure it out. It's just sitting there going, what the hell do I do? So I cut them all off, and I ran it horizontally. So I ran a line horizontally, threaded them, and they were in lines like this. It was I had about, by this stage, half an hour to get it done. And I was freaking out. Doors open, people walk in. This was the waiting area before they got seated. If I'm not done, the only option would be to pull everything down, pull all the struts down, and get it the hell away, because it would just be disgustingly ugly. Got it done in time, and it looked really good. And so my manager was like, oh yeah, well done. Yeah, good on you, mate. And that's about all the praise you get. But yeah, that's a good question. What are the major challenges? Yeah.
Good question. So you said it's very fast-paced, hectic, all the rest, like career choice and other stuff. Do you think it presents the possibility for you to burn out and sort of be like mid-30s or whatever, and not possibly keep up with the career anymore? And sort of, what do you do then?
I'm 30 now, what are you saying?
I'm asking if you think that it's like, something that
Yeah, there is a possibility. I know a few people who have just, they have burnt out, but they're on the higher level. So as an event coordinator or those kind of more entry-level or mid-level roles, you don't have that stress because you're sometimes managing, or you're project managing, or you're the project lead for a specific event, and those are stressful. If you don't have the support of your team or the support of your management, that's when it gets really hard because it all comes back on you. But it also, that's that point where you have to stand up and say, okay, I'm overburdened, I need help. I can't do this. So it's just managing that, understanding what your limitations are. All of us can only do so much. All of us only have so much knowledge. Don't overstretch. Stretch a little bit because that means you're going to be challenged, you're going to learn. Don't overstretch because it gets real hard. And like events, I say they're full on and they're really stressful. They are in the pack-in. The pack-in is always stressful. You're running out of time. You've got 300 stall holders coming in and nobody's obeying the contractors that you've got to manage the traffic because they are crap. Yeah, you just figure it out. But then the event starts. And you just sit back. Because there's bugger all you have to do. Yeah.
I've been putting on local shows for the past 5 years, but just till maybe recently I'm going to be planning on doing a festival. Is there any tips you could provide to me just to help? Or
Yeah. What's your venue?
it's just going to be at Corbin's Estate.
Oh yeah. Cool. I've done a lot of work at Corbin's Estate. That's where Southland Arts Festival was. That's also, I've been heavily involved in Trash to Fashion. I've emceed that for the past 3 years. Unfortunately it's not going ahead again. But Corbin's Estate is really cool. You've got some troubles with the venue just in regards to the fact that it's a destination venue. What do I mean by destination venue? People only end up at the venue if they're going to the venue. So they don't drive past and go, oh, that looks interesting, I'm going to go and check it out. So your signage has got to be all down that main road.
Yeah.
In terms of the actual organisation, look at the way other music festivals work. Look at Big Day Out, look at Rhythm and Vines, understand what music is going on what stages. What's your expected audience turnout at your realistic expectation? Where are you going to get your money? Where are you going to get your stages? Who's going to manage your sound? Is there one company who can do the whole lot, who can give you a discount? Don't get your friends involved. Unless they know what they're doing. Pay everybody if you can. People work better when they're paid. If you can't pay them, feed them. Really, really important. You get volunteers on board to any of your events, make sure that you get some catering in, make sure you feed them. At least then they're going, hey, we get a free feed and we're learning. If you've ever done volunteering for events and you go into the event and you're just like, okay, I've been here 7 hours, okay, no food, no drink, alright, I'll just head off then. That's what happens. So it's kind of figuring it out. Plan it as much as you can. Plan every aspect as you can, as much as you can. There's a lot of cool indoor venues, especially in the big sheds, but there's a hell of a lot of noise bleed between those two sheds. So it's understanding those things that you look at it and go, oh man, it'll work me. It may not work me. But you can get around it by putting, if you put your stages next to each other, there's your wall of your separation between your sheds, then your noise is coming out this way, not bleeding through. So there's different ways of figuring that out within sound. Really, really understand your marketing and understand who your target demographic is and how to pinpoint those. If you're planning on doing it, I'd say give yourself 18 months. Yeah, at least 1.5 years to get in there. That'll give you plenty of time to figure out everything you need to figure out. That'll give you time for getting sponsorship in or some kind of financial backing to help you out, because if you're doing a festival, it costs money.
I'll add to that, check out Auckland Council, they have creative communities funding.
Council, there's heaps of different funding. You've got Lions Foundation, you've got all of the Gambling Foundation peoples. You may not get it, but apply anyway. So get used to filling out funding application forms. They're really, really good.
Do you prefer working for small event companies or bigger, like the big one, like the council?
I prefer not working. They're different. I prefer working for council because council don't let me work more than 40 hours a week. If I work more than 40 hours a week, which I do often, then it goes into a pool of time off in lieu. So that's time off I can just take off any time I want, as long as I can. That doesn't cut into any of my other time. So council's really good in that supportive role because it has to be. They have to be the shining light of health and safety. They have to be the shining light, the shining example for everyone else. Working in smaller companies, you'll work longer hours, you'll do... it's just different. If you've got a really cool team and a really good company, then there's a real nice support network and a nice family element to it. Council is the same because you've still got your teams, but you're still working within council as a whole. So they're both kind of the same in that regard. When you work for council, it's a bigger organisation, but you're still working within your team, and your team is between kind of 4 and 6 people. So it's kind of, they're a bit different, but in a lot of ways the same. Yeah. WaterSafe was about 10 to 12 people. What else? What time is it? Lunchtime?
Well, that might be us if no one else has any more questions.
Sure.
I'd just like to say thanks for coming in. Your PowerPoint presentation was great for a 1 AM finish. I think everyone would have learnt heaps from your presentation. So
Cool.
thanks for your time.
No worries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So if anyone has any other questions or just want to chat to me about anything, just get my email off Nina, and happy to chat. Cool. Thank you very much, guys.
Yes.
Before you go on break, I have some things to talk about quickly.
Nina's going to get up and be like, everything that Sam said was rubbish.